Keisha. How you doing?
How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. You are a U.S. Air Force veteran, a family caregiver, and you've got some interesting stuff to talk about. You brought up us a panelist today, Traci L. Lamb. She's the CEO and founder of Smart Caregiving. And we want to know, what is Smart Caregiving? How does it make caregiving easier? What is that all about?
Yeah, before Tracy gets started, Tracy, on my bio it talks about when I was caring for my mom, and not even in my bio, but I always add on to that. After I was caring for my mom, I was caring for my brother who fell and was placed on life support. And in the process of that, I started going to different conferences and learning about a lot of resources that are out there, but people didn't know about those different resources. And so most recently, I've been able to connect with Tracy, and I almost felt like in some aspects I was talking to myself, for someone with a passion for ensuring that caregivers know that there are resources out there. And so Tracy, she's just a wealth of knowledge. So I'll turn it over to her and let her take it from here, and just share about those various resources in terms of smart caregiving.
Thanks. Appreciate that, Keisha. So, Tracy, what can you tell us about some of these resources? And first, are these mainly resources available to veterans, or are they resources that are all over the place for anybody that can use?
Well, thank you so much, Cliff and Keisha, for the introduction and for allowing me to be on the show. I greatly appreciate it. Smart Caregiving is a product of me working in the hospice for 15 years and finding a gap in the industry, kind of like Keisha did when she took care of her mom, and that people who take care of moms and dads, special needs children, all over the world, really, there really wasn't a place for them to be able to call and get resources like Keisha had stated, and actually even talk to a person and say, this is what's going on with my mom or my dad or my special needs child, and I really just want somebody to talk to and find out, what they could do to help me. So that's kind of how Smart Caregiving was born. We actually help all people, veterans alike, veterans and non-veterans alike. My dad and granddad were both veterans. They both were Army. And served so the military has a very special place in my heart, and veterans do as well. But we actually have a global directory of companies that offer products and services to anybody, and they can call in with their questions, or they can email their questions, and they can do that as often as they like, and it's completely free.
Oh, you're still there? It looks like we lost her, Tracy.
I am still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you just dropped that for a brief second.
Oh,
so
okay.
These are resources that are free for a lot of people, or most people?
They are free to all people. They are free to everybody. Anybody who calls in, they can call in as many times as they want. They can email in as many times as they want. I am a caregiver. I took care of my father up until he passed away in February. And I took care of my mom. I still take care of my mom. So, yes, they are completely free to the caregiver and always will be.
Wow. And how do we connect with you? How do we find that information?
Sure. My website is smart-caregiving.com. That's the website, and it has my phone toll-free number on top, and there's an email address as well. If they want my toll-free number, that they can call as well. Our toll-free number is 888-462-4817.
Wow. So what are some of the resources that are available? What's the most popular, maybe?
Sure. Well, one of the resources that we are, I really love, and it actually is available to really only for active vets. There's a company called Tactical Rehab. And their website, just so that you know, you come to my website, you'll see a link to their website as well. But their website is tacticalrehabdme.com. They've been around for quite some time, since I believe 2014, and they are global. They have a product that I absolutely love that they actually created for vets. It actually is an orthotic for your feet. And they actually come to people's homes. They make a mold of your feet. And so these are made especially for you. And so it allows you to be able to put these in any soles of shoes, any shoes that you have, and they are just, it helps with back pain, it helps with knee pain, it helps with hip pain. I mean, they're just absolutely wonderful. So Tactical Rehab is just one of the many resources. One of the other resources.
Wow.
Yeah,
I need that for myself. I need to call these guys Tactical Resources.
Tactical Rehab.
Tactical
Rehab.
Okay, so I need to call these guys up and get some molds on my feet. Now, this is free or is it under? Do you have to be under the VA system in order to use their services, or how does this work?
They take. I know they take TRICARE, and they take all VA insurances. And I know they work with all active military. So, yeah, just call them directly. Tactical Rehab DME is their website, tacticalrehabdme.com. And just tell them that Smart Caregiving referred you. So that way they'll know that to give you a discount because you're calling through Smart Caregiving. And but they will come to your home. And they actually, these are much better than Dr. Scholl's.
I like that. So what else is like really popular? What do people usually do?
Sure. One of the other products that we have that's really, really popular that helps tremendously, you know, there's a lot of people that have problems with bed sores. I know before my father passed away, he sat all the time and he got bed sores a lot. And there's a lady, she has a company called Jewel Nursing Solutions. The great thing is this product is actually on Amazon. And she has patented a bed sore pillow. And she is a former trauma nurse, and she realized that bed sores were a huge problem, and so she has an actual patented bed sore pillow that actually helps tremendously with bed sores. And you can actually find that on Amazon as well.
Wow. So I like this idea of taking all of these different people that have these different products and services and putting them in one place. That's probably the most frustrating thing when you're trying to get help for something. Particularly something as complicated and as widespread as caregiving, because you have all types of income levels where people might not have the resources that they think they wish they had to get caregiving services, or maybe they're doing it themselves for a parent or for a spouse or something like that. How challenging is it to pull all this together and get all these different people and find all of these different resources?
Well, I love what I do, and I'm actually very blessed. I've actually had a lot of companies actually come to me, and, you know, the great thing is that kind of what you said is you hit the nail on the head. We basically are a one-stop shop for caregivers. So they basically call in and they tell us, okay, this is what's going on with my mom or my dad, or this is what's going on with my special needs child, and these are the challenges that I'm having. And we basically connect them with all different kinds of companies and resources that help them. And so it basically makes it to where they feel like they are now a part of a community. They no longer have to feel alone. We basically bridge the gap for them and make it to where they can go ahead and feel like, okay, now I have somebody I can call and talk to when I feel, you know, stuck, or I don't know what to do, or I need help and I don't know where to get it. They now have a place to call.
Now, one thing
Sean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sean, I wanted to mention that one of the things that I really appreciated about Smart Caregiving is that I guess, and Traci could talk more, but say if you call them and if they don't have that answer, they're going to follow back up with you, I believe, in like 24 or 48 hours. And that is so crucial to be able to have someone to follow through, because a lot of times, you know, you just placed on a hold for indefinitely and to the point where you get frustrated or you just hang up. But to have someone that's willing to say, you know what, we're going to call you back, we're going to get the answer and follow back up with you, I think that's tremendous.
That is tremendous. And I think that's really important. Where someone in that situation, that feedback is so critical. One of the things I think a lot of small businesses and large businesses even fall short on is they don't give the customer feedback when they have run into a brick wall or something's not working. Because there's going to be hiccups and things that might not work the way you want it to, but if you have that feedback, it makes the person in the last, particularly going through a hard situation, feel so much better. And so it's good to hear that you guys have that, to have that built into your organization.
Absolutely. You know, to me, one of the core values that they instructed us with hospice was customer service. And I worked with them for 15 years. And, you know, that's the key value that I'm putting with my company is that, you know, we want people to know that they are valued and that every problem is important. And we want them to know, hey, if you call us and you've got a question and we don't have the answer, we absolutely will get back to you in the next 24 to 48 hours, because we're going to dig in and we're going to find the solution for you. So you don't have to sit there and try and Google or YouTube or figure it all out and spend precious time that you do not have, because I know I am a caregiver too, and when you are in the midst of caregiving, you do not have a lot of time. Mm-hmm. If you're juggling a job and kids and caregiving and all of the same things, you don't have time to look all these things up, and you can't Google, unfortunately, what you don't know about. Right. And there's a lot of fantastic companies out there.
Another thing is, too, so when you look at a lot of these websites like Google and others, like vendors, online vendors, you don't know if you're getting a quality product, which is a big thing. Because you could be getting something that's, made, and it says it's made in America. It could be made somewhere else. They could be using shoddy materials. It may not work. You might have, for something that's in the caregiving field, it could be something that could be dangerous.
Yeah, and Sean, along with that, you can also be getting scammed. And so that's why it's so important to know who you're connecting with. They prey on people online looking for help, especially if they feel like it's a senior person. Just getting, say, hey, we have this product. It's a phenomenal product. They get your credit card information or something. And so you definitely have to be careful in that area as well.
Wow, that's good. That's good advice, and that's so important, so true. That's so true.
And that is very true. And I actually do. I personally vet every company that comes onto my directory. I personally talk to every CEO. I personally talk to every single company. I meet each company because I do feel it's important. And I have turned companies away. If I don't feel like they're going to be able to treat my caregivers the way that I would treat my caregivers, the way that I treat my mom, then I'm not going to have them on my directory, because it's important to me that they be treated the way they deserve to be treated, because they're already in a rough spot. And they're already dealing with a lot on their plate. So to me, it's very, very important that they be quality companies.
Now, I saw on some of the information you had that you actually help caregivers who are trying to start a business in the caregiving industry, or trying to provide a product or service to get started, starting a small business. Is that accurate?
Well, what we're doing is anybody, if there's any businesses out there listening, that anybody that has a business, we're kind of doing it on twofold. If you have a business that offers a product or a service for caregivers that you would like to actually have more people know about, that we could help you grow your business, then please contact me. I would love to talk to you. I would love to help you grow your business. We are now a referring company for the federal government, so we're now actually listed on the federal government's website down in Florida, and we're going to be going nationwide with that over the coming months. But I would love to be able to help you grow your business and be able to help you to get more people to know that you exist. That's the problem with a lot of small businesses, and I know I've been a small business owner too, is that people just don't know they exist. And so we would love to be able to help you with that. And even if you have a company that doesn't necessarily cater to caregivers, but you want to support our mission and you would like to be able to get word out, we are starting to network with other companies, and we're starting to do 2 global events next year where we're going to actually have 350 companies worldwide at one event and 1,200 at another event.
Wow.
And so if you want to be able to network with some companies worldwide to really be able to get the word out there about your company, then please contact me. I would love, love, love to help you grow your business.
Wow. So how hard is it to get money or get financial services or financial help when you're going through a caregiver, when you need a caregiver or need someone to take care of you? How hard is it to pay for this stuff?
Well, the problem is, and that's one reason why there's a company out there I like to refer to a lot of people to. There's a company, and they are nationwide, called elderhelpers.org. One of the biggest problems for people is that they need help, and a lot of these caregivers that you have to, quote, hire, unfortunately, whether they're independent and do it on their own, or whether they come through an agency, it can cost anywhere from $20 to $25 an hour. Which is crazy money. And most people don't have that. Most caregivers don't have that. And so elderhelpers.org actually has vetted, background screened volunteers. All you have to do is go to their website, plug in your zip code, and it will actually bring up a list of vetted, background screened volunteers that will come to your home and stay with the patient. Now, they can't stay 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But if you need somebody to come over for a couple hours while you go to the grocery store, you need somebody to come over for an hour or two while you go do some errands or whatever, then they can do that. And to me, that's a huge, huge help, just because it's completely free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Do caregivers, I guess I know there's different levels of care. There's skilled care and things like that. Are there any requirements or licenses or accreditations required for people that want to become caregivers? Say you want to just say your person is unemployed, you see somebody that might need a caregiver, you want to see if you can get paid to do it. Do they have to get any kind of training first or get any kind of licenses first?
They do not. And there are, if they Google, there are certain places that you can actually become a caregiver. There's a guy I know. His name is Mike Michelle. He has called a Care Trainer app that if you go into your app store, you should be able to download it. It's called the Care Trainer app. And he actually trains you how to be a caregiver.
Wow.
And it's very, very good. It's very good. Mike has been a caregiver himself multiple times over. He's a great guy. He is on my directory. He's a phenomenal guy. But the Care Trainer app is awesome. It can definitely help you get really key antidotes that you need for being able to be a better caregiver.
And what advice would you give? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, Sean, let me just add on to that. I think it's so important that if you get the opportunity to get any type of caregiver training, guidance, mentorship before you become a caregiver, because often, I've said it and others, you wind up kind of falling into that role of becoming a caregiver. So you become a pharmacist, a chaplain, a chaperone, a counselor, a chef. And you're learning as you go along, and it's very unsettling, and it could be very uneasy and make you very nervous because you feel like you're practicing on a patient, which is not good. So that's one of the reasons why bringing these different individuals to the show and talking about these topics and talking about these resources is to try to get people to become knowledgeable of particular situations or experiences or training that's out there or resources. So if that day would come, which is a possibility that it could, you're more at ease with moving into that role.
What are some of the biggest mistakes? That was really the question I wanted to ask last. But what are some of the biggest mistakes that people make when they're stepping into the caregiver role for the first time?
Well, Keisha makes a very, very good point. The reality is that a lot of people don't want to deal with sickness or anything else that has to do with any of the whole process until, they're kind of thrust into the role. And the reality is that as far as I'm sorry, what was the question that you asked? My whole train of thought.
No problem. So what are some of the biggest mistakes? Like if there was one thing that people do wrong that they shouldn't be doing that you see all the time, especially as a first-time caregiver, what would that be?
Yes. Okay. And honestly, I would tell anybody this because I have two living proof examples of why you don't do it. Honestly, I would honestly say that the two biggest things is get what's called advance directives, a living will, a healthcare surrogate, a power of attorney. And I have ways on my website of ways you can actually get those things done. You can get legal representation for as little as $24 a month. So you don't have to pay a $400 an hour attorney to do all that stuff. So I have all kinds of valuable information that can help you with doing this stuff at a very, very low cost. But it is so important to have advance directives, and I know nobody likes to talk about that. It's kind of like the misnomer, but I will give you two examples. My older sister had a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old and was killed in a car accident, and she had no power of attorney, and she ended up, and her two kids ended up going to a man that was not a good man,
who
was their legal father. and it was all because there was no POA. And my younger brother was an alcoholic, and I tried for years to get him to do a healthcare surrogate, and he refused. And he ended up having a surgery, and he was already dying from alcoholism and from cirrhosis, and he ended up on a ventilator. And if anybody's ever had a loved one on a ventilator, it is horrible to watch. It is horrible, horrible, horrible to watch. And it's horrible on the family because the family has to watch their loved one, and then the family has to decide when that ventilator has to be turned off. And so my poor parents had to decide when to turn the ventilator off. And it was all because my brother did not have a living will. And you never want to put your family through that. You know, if you love your loved one, do not put your family through that. So even though you don't want to deal with that, that's one of the first things you really, really need to address, because those are so very, very important.
I really appreciate you. I'm sorry, go ahead. One last, we've got about 10 seconds left.
I was going to say real quickly, the other thing I would just say is find a place where you can get resources, whether it's with, you know, with people like Keisha was, because Keisha is amazing with what she does. And I think I give her huge kudos for what she's doing, because it's so fantastic and it's so completely needed. And utilize every resource you have. You know, I know Keisha and I have shared our stories with each other. You know, we both have utilized a lot of different resources, you know, and that's the thing. Utilize Smart Caregiving, utilize listening to Keisha, utilize every resource that you can find, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it.
Really appreciate your time, Traci, Keisha. Traci Lamb is the CEO and founder of Smart Caregiving. Check out her website, get the resources. It's all free. Keisha Ella Jackson, Air Force veteran, family caregiver. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sean.
This is America's Heroes Group. We'll be right back.